The streets of Rome are truly a 3,000-year-old living museum, and the video clips and pictures we captured during this fantastic walking tour around the city attest to it. Piazza del Viminale was redesigned and decorated by Publius Morbiducci in 1929, where he installed a fountain he had designed back in 1924, intended for another location. The base of the fountain is adorned by a relief depicting the she-wolf of Rome nursing Romulus and Remus. Facing the square is the Palazzo del Viminale, built in 1925, that houses the Ministry of the Interior. Il Teatro dell'Opera di Roma originally opened in November 1880 as the 2,212-seat Costanzi Theatre. It has undergone several changes of name as well as modifications and improvements. The present house seats 1,600. On 2 January 1958, the theatre was the venue for a controversial performance of Norma, starring Maria Callas in the presence of the President of Italy. For health reasons, Callas abandoned the performance after the first act. Then it was time for a brief stop at the Hotel Jolly. Before continuing our walking tour, we stopped for lunch, where I enjoyed my favorite pasta dish, spaghetti carbonara. The Piazza del Quirinale and the Palazzo del Quirinale sit atop Quirinal Hill, the highest of the 7 hills of Rome. The Quirinal Palace, the home of the President of Italy, was built in 1573 by Pope Gregory XIII as a summer residence for the papacy. It became the official royal residence after the unification of Italy in 1870 and later the presidential residence. The first structure in the piazza that usually catches the eye is the huge obelisk with fountain that sits in the middle. This is known as the Dioscuri fountain and features 5.5-meter-tall sculptures of Castor and Pollux as horse tamers. These statues, Roman replicas of Greek originals from the 5th century BC, once stood at the entrance of the Bath of Constantine. The basin is an ancient Roman shell that once stood at the Roman Forum, where it was used as a trough. The statues were placed here in 1588 by Pope Sixtus V, and the fountain's granite basin was added in 1818. The 14-meter-tall central obelisk once held a place of honor at the entrance of the mausoleum of Augustus, and was added in 1786. Adjacent to the President's Palace is the Palazzo della Consulta, built by Ferdinand Fuga in 1734 for Pope Clement XII, and the Papal Court. This ornately decorated palace is now occupied by the Corte Costituzionale, the Italian Supreme Court.
I'm looking in the building, I'm looking in the faces. Okay, there we go.
On the way to the Capitoline Square, we stopped in front of the Vittoriano for a couple of pictures. Capitoline Square, or Piazza del Campidoglio, is one of Rome's most beautiful squares, designed in the 16th century by Michelangelo and laid out between two summits of the Capitoline Hill, the most important of Rome's fabled seven hills. The grandiose, slow-rising staircase that leads from the bottom of the Capitoline Hill to the Piazza is known as the Cordonata, Italian for graded ramp. The equestrian statue of the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius is a replica. The oldest of the three buildings around the square is the Palazzo Senatorio, now the seat of the city of Rome. The monumental staircase in front of the Palazzo Senatorio is also a creation of Michelangelo. The statues on either side of the double staircase represent the Nile and the Tiber, and in the center is Roma. The Forum Romanum was the center of life in imperial Rome, evidenced by the many remains of triumphal arches, temples, and basilicas. Today, the Forum can look like a disorderly collection of ruins to the uninitiated, but with some imagination you can see the Roman Empire come back to life at this site. The Circus Maximus was the largest stadium in ancient Rome. Popular chariot races were held here for almost a millennium. At one point, the circus could seat 250,000 people, 1/4 of Rome's population. With a past that predates the city itself, Rome's Palatine Hill holds an important place in the history of the Eternal City. Today, only ruins remain, but during the imperial era, the hill was completely built up with large palaces. Bordering Circus Maximus are the remains of the palace of Septimus Severus, Roman emperor between 193 and 211 AD.